Welcome to the Explainer. So today, let's talk about the single biggest thing holding back enterprise AI: messy documents. We all want our AI to tap into our company's huge knowledge base, right? But what happens when all that knowledge is locked up in PDFs and reports that the AI just can't read properly? Let's get into it. You gotta love a good origin story, and this one is pretty much perfect. Psionic AI actually named their parser Storm after a skill in the game StarCraft. And what does that skill do? It gets rid of these illusory units called hallucinations. That's a perfect metaphor for what they're doing for AI, zapping away all those nonsensical, made-up answers that are a plague on these systems. So let's start with the big promise of enterprise AI. It's something called retrieval augmented generation, or RAG as everyone calls it. And the idea is, it's pretty simple. Connect an AI to all your internal files and boom, you get accurate answers. The problem? There is a massive gap between that awesome promise and the messy reality of the documents we all work with every single day. And this is really the key thing to get. The problem isn't the AI model itself. Nope. It's the documents we're feeding it. I mean, think about it. All of our reports, our PDFs, our presentations, they were made for human eyes. We understand the columns, the charts, the little side notes, but for an AI that just reads text from left to right, it's total chaos. So what does one of these AI-breaking documents actually look like? Let's take a look at a few nightmare examples that are probably sitting on your company's server right this very second. First up, we have the dreaded complex table. You and I can look at this and instantly get it. We see the nested headers, the merged cells, and we understand how it all relates. But in AI, it tries to read this line by line, and what it gets is just a jumbled mess. So if you ask it a simple question like, hey, what were our assets back in the 54th fiscal period? It's got no chance. It just sees a soup of words and numbers. And then you've got this classic multi-column layouts. We naturally read down the first column, then pop back up to the top of the second one, kind of like an N shape. But in AI, it doesn't know any better. It just reads straight across, left to right. So it's grabbing the start of a sentence here and mashing it together with the middle of a totally different sentence over there. The result? Pure gibberish. And just keeps getting worse, right? You've got charts buried inside tables. You've got scanned documents that are basically just pictures of words. The AI can't even see the text. And don't forget all that critical info hidden away in tiny footnotes or weird annotations. For a simple text extraction tool, every single one of these is a landmine. This all boils down to one of the oldest rules in computing, and it is so true here: garbage in, garbage out. If you feed these incredibly powerful AI models a bunch of jumbled, out-of-context junk from your documents, you can't really be surprised when you get junk, hallucinations back out. The failure isn't at the end of the line, it's right at the very beginning. So, how in the world do we fix this? Well, it takes a pretty big shift in how we think about the problem. We have to stop just, extracting text and start actually interpreting what a document really means. The layout, the structure, the whole shebang. And the key, the real game changer here, is a technology called a vision language model, or VLM. The difference is huge. Unlike a regular AI that just sees a stream of text, a VLM can actually see the whole page. It understands the layout, the columns, the charts. It sees the visual context, just like we do. And that brings us right to Psionic AI's own technology, the Storm Parser. It's got this really clever two-step process that gets around all the usual problems and aims for both accuracy and real understanding. Okay, now here's the really clever bit. In step one, a specialized engine goes in and just maps out the physical structure. It finds every single text block, every table, every image, and it does it reliably. This builds a solid foundation. Then, and only then, does it hand that clean map over to the vision language model in step two. This lets the VLM do what it's best at: interpreting the context and generating a summary of what it all means. Okay, the best way to really get this is to see it in action. Let's do a little before and after comparison and see just how dramatic the difference is. All right, check this out. It's a simple pie chart, right? Something you'd find in any business report. It's asking employees if work-life balance affects their satisfaction. To us, the answer is super obvious. Now, your typical parser, it might just grab the words yes, no, and the numbers and throw them at you without any context. But look at the Storm Parser's output. It's a full sentence. It tells you what the chart is about, and it even understands the nuance, pointing out the strong positive sentiment. It gets the meaning. And this really drives the point home. On the left, that's what a standard parser gives you from a complex table. It's a complete mess, a wall of text that's totally useless. But on the right, that's the storm parser. It's a clean, easy-to-read summary that explains the key financial data. It's ready to go. So, okay, this is cool tech, but why does this change everything? What's the big picture impact for businesses that are actually trying to use AI? Well, it's because you're finally treating the disease instead of just the symptoms. You're fixing the data before it ever gets to the AI. Sionic claims this can slash those hallucinations by up to 90%. Think about that. That's a huge leap in how much you can actually trust the answers your AI gives you. So, here's the bottom line. If you want better AI, you need better data. It's that simple. Getting the meaning right from the start is what reduces hallucinations and unlocks all that value that's been trapped in your company's documents for years. It makes any AI system you plug it into way more powerful and a whole lot more reliable. And that kind of leaves us with this one big question to chew on. Everyone's in this race to build bigger and bigger AI models. But what if the real key to better AI isn't about more power, but about more understanding? What if it's about teaching our machines to see the world of information the same way we do?